SQLMAP is a professional-grade software that takes a lot of the sweat out of exploiting SQL injection vulnerabilities. It is not for the faint of heart because A, expertise in this tool puts you in the company of some of the most ill-intentioned people on the web, and B, relatedly, the misuse of this tool could land you on the wrong side of the law. Nonetheless, it is my recommendation that you learn its basics because it can be useful, especially to make a point about how important addressing SQL injection vulnerabilities can be. Let's run through an example of how SQLMAP is useful to me. Let's say you have a production-grade application like this one here. This one in particular is built using Oracle Apex, a technology suite known for its security features. As part of your routine security hygiene, you run Apex Advisor. Apex Advisor lets you know that you have exactly one security risk, namely an inappropriate use of substitution syntax. It further tells you that there is a, quote, possible SQL injection detected, P7 where clause ls is used with substitution syntax in SQL, PL/SQL code, or process table name. Select star from demo table where 1 equals 1, ampersand, P7 where clause ls. So it's referring specifically to the ampersand dot notation. And we can view it in the page itself. This query is based off of a real-life example of code I've recently encountered at a client. It's certainly not the worst SQL injection vulnerability I've seen. It's middle of the road. In this example, the client is clearly trying to build a dynamic where clause, but in doing so, the client has exposed itself to a security vulnerability. So Apex Advisor is telling us that it's a problem, but how do we prioritize the issue? How do we make the vulnerability less abstract and more real? In preparation for my SQLMAP attack, I've altered the default Apex URL to allow for easier parameter manipulation. SQLMAP is free to use and trivial to install. On my Mac, I simply type brew install SQLMAP. And as expected, it tells me it's already installed. Let's clear this. Let's kick things off by challenging SQLMAP to extract the database banner information. For the sake of easing the processing burden and speed, I have temporarily made this page public, so I don't have to ask SQLMAP to worry about cookies and session state. I'll further give SQLMAP a boost by specifying that as an Oracle database. I'll tell SQLMAP to focus on the P7 where clause parameter, and -b asks for the banner info. I'm going to flush the session state for good measure, and batch means accept all the default answers, and we're off. SQLMAP is cycling through the 5 SQL injection strategies it has at its disposal: blind, time-based, error-based, union query-based, and stacked queries. I've sped this up a touch for your benefit. It prints out the successful strategies it used, and it prints out the requested banner info Oracle Database 12c. Now that SQLMAP has its hooks in this vulnerability, we can up the ante and collect some more interesting information. Let's identify how much of the database we can see by asking it to print out a full list of owners and tables. Let's start with the first 30. Very nice. How about 90? It builds on the saved session and probes further. It's now discovering tables in the Hayden schema. Let's clear this. Let's ask for 150. We're looking for something interesting. I like to do this iteratively as a way of probing what questions are reasonable to ask. Let's do 200. And there we have it. Some of these tables look more interesting than others. This user table, for example, sounds like it carries sensitive data. Let's ask SQLMAP to print out its contents. So we know it's in the Hayden database, and the table is called user table. And there we have it in no time at all. Thus concludes a demo of how important it is to address inappropriate use of substitution syntax warnings. A single vulnerability can be exploited to extract some completely unrelated and potentially very sensitive data from your database. For tactics on how to eliminate this vulnerability, please follow the link to the blog post in the description of this video.